This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning, and we take a look at the political pieces we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 29th of July 2020, and I am DM.
And I am JM. On to the headlines of the day. In the Daily Nation, salaries heartbreak for KNUT members. In the Standard, cutting Kinoti down to size. And in the Star, Senators defy Raila, UHURU in cash row. Let's begin with the Star.
Did you just say KNUT?
KNUT.
The Star.
No.
Senators defy Raila, UHURU in cash row. Now, yesterday evening, there was a defeat. Jubilee and ODM lost. And that's because senators allied to both parties shot down the motion by Senate Majority Whip Irungu Kangata to defer the implementation of a third basis for revenue sharing among the counties. And they lost, I think numbers was 25-22. 22 for yes, 25 for no. Now, I will not go much about the details of the loss, but I want to say the following. You see, what happened yesterday was genius, and it was genius by Uhuru Kenyatta. And I want to actually say that Uhuru Kenyatta wanted to lose. And you see, the reason that was genius is because he turned this CRA proposal into a Gema issue. He made the country turn against Gema, say, no, you cannot have that much. And you see, I mean, you cannot be allocated all that money because it's unfair. I mean, you cannot be the only tribe that are leading this country in matters everything. Now, here is why this was a decoy. The Senate Majority Leader, Samuel Pogishio, was not even in the House. He was, I think he had gone from
Tanzania.
He had gone to Tanzania. Can you and he was going to represent the President of the Republic of Kenya. If the president was very serious about this thing passing yesterday, the person who would have been there to whip all those senators into order, it would have been the majority leader. That means he was playing suboptimal. He was playing a suboptimal game. And you know what we say in game theory, that whenever you see someone behaving suboptimally,
they're nested in multiple
more than one game.
Let me venture then a thought.
Yes, sure.
In addition to that, that perhaps the president wants to unite Gema. And to unite Gema, the best way to do so is to aggress them. Because if you have an external aggressor, then they all become a united force.
Absolutely.
As we've seen in the previous two or so elections.
Absolutely.
And if that happens, then Gema is on his side. BBI will sail through quite fast.
Is that the best way to bring people together, though? Because this it may also backfire.
Especially when you're herding cats.
When you're herding cats. I thought it was the Luya nation that was...
Guys, you know when you see the math in this thing, if you are to actually see the math in the CRA formula, the counties it would first benefit will counties in Rift Valley and counties in Western Kenya first. Right.
In fact,
according to their allocations.
I was surprised that in this report they said that the senators decided to follow their conscience and vote according to that. They did not follow their conscience. They followed their votes and their interests. You will see that senators, especially who are going to run for a second term, voted yes, because their counties would be allocated more money, and they can't go back to their voters and say that I voted no for these reasons. You know, people of course want more allocations to their county. But what I was also saying about if this is a good thing to do, to coalesce the Gema nation together by coalescing the country against them. You know what this is looking like? And I think to in something you have said, you touched on it. It is bringing about a sort of sense of entitlement. But the truth of the matter is, and I think the spirit in which the Constitution was written is that we do not live in an equitable society as it is, and and because of that, we may need to treat some people differently in order to achieve in order for them to catch up. So it is so counterintuitive to then say, no, we are the ones, by virtue of us being so many, or by virtue of, I even see people exchanging ignorance online and saying that, you know, we are the ones who contribute the most to the GDP, which is really
Let me tell you guys.
In the interest of time, we've got to move on.
Sure.
I think we park this headline as we consider the other two headlines. But before we do so, we've got a three-part criteria that we use to judge them. Are they topical or speculative, repetitive or groundbreaking, and finally thoughtful or just plain lazy? I think this one is a thoughtful one. It's a topical one. So we put it on the sidelines as we consider the Daily Nation.
In the Daily Nation, it's matters education.
Which I think we should just toss right away, isn't it?
Why should we? It's important.
It's just...
Or at least let me say what the story is about. So, 32,556 teachers will not be getting the salary increments and the promotions that had been assured a few years ago in the CBA. What's the CBA again?
Comprehensive.
Collective bargain agreement that was going to begin in 2017 and culminate this year. And the reason, to cut a long story short, they will not be receiving those promotions that were due to them is because they are still members of NAT, or KNAT as JM calls them. And TSC, the Teacher Service Commission, and NAT have been at loggerheads for a long time. And so it looks like the teachers are collateral damage. The teachers who, as we say all the time, they're already so underpaid and undervalued, they are collateral damage in a fight between two giants.
And this
total waste
so boring.
Of national imagination. Now, what do we have in the Standard? In the Standard, we have cutting Kinoti down to size. And here what we're being told is that yesterday, during the launch of the guidelines on the decision to charge, and as well as the launch of a new case management system that integrates case information between police, prosecution, judiciary, and prisons, the DCI boss, George Kinoti, was conspicuously absent. He snubbed that meeting, which was a launch by the DPP, together with the National Police Service, Dr. Fred Matiang'i, and some other government officers. And the reason is because there seems to be some tough wars going on. These new guidelines will take away some of the powers that the DCI has and really just load them on the DPP to initiate cases. But then on the other hand, these guidelines are also an indication of progress in the criminal justice system. They raise the threshold before a case is instituted by the DPP. So he gave the meeting a wide berth, and the speculation here is that yet again some power is being taken away from him. There's only one thing I want to say here. If you can't have what you like, you have to like what you have. And so Kinoti unfortunately has to settle with the very little clout that his institution as DCI has, but make the most of it to achieve his goals.
I think the original sin here is that Kinoti's personality is a mismatch with his job. He's too hot-tempered for the kind of work that he's supposed to be executing. And this is very different from the DPP. He's so cool, calm, and collected, which is what his job calls him to be. But I think Kinoti, many times we have said it, always acts like he's solving a crime in a James Bond movie, and he's personally invested in it. And he then goes on to time and time again botch things. And I think now it is coming home to roost.
So that's that. I think we award the winning headline to the Standard. What are your thoughts?
I agree.
Absolutely.
I agree.
Kinoti down to size. So that gives us our winning headline. The non-political pieces that we call cartoons in this country, we've got a three-part criteria that we use: are they humorous or dry, satirical or pessimistic, effective or just plain lazy. In the Daily Nation.
In the Daily Nation, we have the president giving his speech, State of the COVID address, and he's saying, "I will not lock down yet. Act responsibly." And then there is what I'm assuming is a middle-class Kenyan there.
No, he looks like Joho for some reason.
Who has is in sunglasses, and he says phew because he is relieved, and he can be seen there walking down the street with 3 bottles of alcohol, going home to drink them. But at the corner is another Uhuru Kenyatta waiting to clobber those bottles down to the ground and smash them. And
Interesting one. to put that in the parking bay. In the Standard, a cartoon we should definitely toss, waiting for COVID-19 vaccine. So this cartoon portrays Kenyans as desperately waiting for COVID-19 vaccine to come. One person even appears to be holding their pee in, while others are praying or have their heads buried in the ground. So just a cartoon showing how desperate Kenyans are. Can we toss that one, please? Once, one time.
Very fast.
And the Star?
The Star. You have British Salachi, Speaker of the County Assembly of Nairobi. And she is in the setting, what did you call it, DM? The dump?
The City Hall.
City Hall. And behind her is GSU officers and policemen clobbering this woman. She had, I think her name was Patricia Mudeu. And the caption there is, some things are hard to change. Let me tell you, one thing.
First of all, this cartoon is very good. The way it's been drawn, it even looks like it smells.
But let me tell you, one, I watched the footage yesterday of these beastly cops clobbering this lady. I mean, we are not a banana republic, and I think it's time IG took action on this. This should not be allowed to happen, especially on our screens. Cops are going too far in doing their mandate, in executing their mandate. Why would you beat up a defenseless woman like a thief? Did you see how she was beaten? And this one cop was saying, I mean, you should have arrested her in the first place.
Yes.
You guys were 4 men against one lady.
Yeah.
I mean, shame on that cop who was doing that. Shame on you, cop.
And yes, DM, you want to say something?
No, yet. I'm just echoing 2M's thoughts. This should be... I think this should be curbed immediately. It's just getting out of hand. It was already out of hand. This excessive use of violence, it's becoming a norm.
I mean, MCAs can be rowdy. It is known. But this single young lady, she's sitting on the ground. She's not doing nothing.
Literally nobody deserves that. MCA, thief, even a thief needs to be arrested, and yes,
it's like cyborgs in uniform sometimes. You just cannot handle someone like that. I think IG should take Inspector General Mutiabai should take action on that cop.
It's despicable.
All those cops who are raising those bars like that on that woman, they should be dealt with.
Not acceptable.
Yeah, they should be dealt with.
On account of that, I think we give this cartoon our winning headline, our winning cartoon now. And now, on to our final thought. But before we get there, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. So what is our final thought?
Now, our final thought, it is inspired by a TED Talk entitled The Power of Vulnerability by Brené Brown.
Yes, and we also draw from the book Talk Like Ted by Carmine Gallo. So Brené Brown made this TED Talk in the year 2011 on the 3rd of January, and she has a PhD in social work. In fact, this TED Talk draws from her many years of research and the findings therein. So she says, in sharing the insights from her research, she says that she went on a long personal quest to know herself, but most importantly to understand humanity. And her discovery was that us as human beings, we're neurobiologically engineered or wired to thrive in connections and to seek connections and to maintain connections. But she also found that the thing that blocks or impedes connection is, guess what? Shame. And the fear of disconnection. So she says that people ask themselves, is there something about me that if other people know or if they see, they will think that I am not worthy of making a connection with? And that is a permanent shame that everybody, she says, identifies with and feels. And she says that the only people who don't experience shame are those who do not have the capacity for human connection or empathy. So nobody wants to talk about it, and the less you talk about it, the more you have it. That's the irony of shame. So shame, as she says, is the feeling that a lot of people can identify with, and it's that thought of I'm not good enough, I'm not good enough, I'm not good looking enough, I'm not smart enough, I'm not getting promoted enough, I'm not wealthy enough to do something. And she says that what underpins shame is vulnerability. So she took a year to embark on research to specifically deconstruct shame. She said, I want to understand how vulnerability works. How 1 year of research turned into 6 years. And in this 6 years, she poured through thousands of pieces of data, stories, interviews, focus group discussions from all over America. And after that, she consolidated the data, she formed a theory, and she wrote a book. But after that, she still felt that this was not enough, that she had really not cracked the what she had set out to do. She hadn't cracked that theory of shame and vulnerability. So she went back to the data that she had accumulated and started poring over it again. And then she got a light bulb moment. So she divided the data into 2 groups. There was a group of respondents who she saw had this sense of self-worth. They felt or believed that they were worth loving or belonging, or they were worth showing the world what they had. And then of course there's the other group that did not believe in their self-worth, or that they struggled with the concept. And she found that common variable amongst these people that feel worthiness was courage in 2 ways. These people had the courage to be imperfect, and they also embraced vulnerability. So, and in fact, not only did they embrace vulnerability, they thought that vulnerability was necessary. So from these findings, she found that courage and vulnerability are not disparate things on a long spectrum. They're actually opposite sides of the same coin. And it's true. And I watched this and I thought about it. And I'd also like to ask our audience, have you ever done something that was courageous that did not require you to be vulnerable? It's likely that that's not possible. You need to embrace vulnerability in order to do something that is vulnerable. And she says this was a takeaway for me, that the irony of life is that vulnerability is the core of shame and fear, but it is also the birthplace of joy and creativity and success. So if you want to achieve these things, you have to accept vulnerability in order to be courageous. So go out there and start your business and tell your crush that you love them, or do all those things that make you feel vulnerable, but you're afraid.
Absolutely.
Liam, there's something you said, and I want to repeat, and then I'll disagree later. You said, is there something about me? That's what she actually says. Is there something about me that if other people know it or see it, that I won't be worthy of that connection? The truth is, everyone, particularly young people, are vulnerable. Everybody, all right? But we like to pretend that we are not vulnerable. And she says the reason is because we are numb. You know, we have numbed our vulnerability. And she says, we are the most in debt, we are the most obese, addicted, and most medicated adult cohort in US history. And I say, and probably that rings true in Kenya. And then she gives us a solution, and then she says, the solution to this is let ourselves be seen, deeply seen, vulnerably seen by the world. All right, and let's accept our mistakes. And I want to disagree and say absolutely not. And I want to say that nobody should know your vulnerability. And I want to give you guys an example. There is this man who the other day, him and his wife showed up on television, and the wife happily said she was in an entanglement. And this guy let all the viewers, let all the world know that he has had
that the wife had an affair.
Had an affair. And the wife actually said that that's the best time she's ever had, and she felt healed. And I sat back and I said, why would this man want the world to know everything that happens in his house? Let me tell you, as human beings, whether you like it or not, we love gossip. And the moment we know about someone's private affairs, it's not because we want to help. It's just because we just want to know, so that it can form discussion out there. That is a damn truth I am telling you, right? See, nobody, when you want to tell people your problems, it's all right. But just know, nobody really cares. Okay, maybe your close family friends, maybe your close family members, that's okay. But don't go telling the world your problems.
I don't think that's what she meant to him.
But there's also a piece of advice she gives here, but I've tweaked it a bit and I've said in your privacy, because I want to say that. Have the courage to be imperfect, the compassion to be kind to yourself first, and fully embrace your vulnerability. In short, she's telling you first, yes, accept who you are as a person, right? Don't go telling everyone, I am this person. Just accept who you are. But also, in short, I also think she's saying, be selfish. Don't tell everyone your problem, because at the end of the day, who asked you?
Anyway, I don't think that's what she was saying to him. I think what she's saying is the vulnerability in terms of don't be afraid to do those things you really want to do, like maybe starting a business, giving a speech.
Those went sour.
Yeah.
But by the time...
not airing your dirty laundry.
No, she said, solution, let ourselves be seen, deeply seen, vulnerably seen. What is she telling us? She's telling us...
You know, the most effective communicators are those who are vulnerable and are willing for people to see their authentic self.
I want to talk a little bit about communication and her style, which is very authentic and very effective for that matter. So I'll talk about her style based on the book by Carmen Gallo, Talk Like Ted. And this is particularly about how to be an inspiring communicator using humor.
Yeah.
So you communicate most effectively and attain influence through communication when you're authentic. And authenticity, she says, means being willing to let go of who you think you should be in order to be who you really are.
Yeah.
And that's very powerful. On to humor. Carmen Gallo says that the brain loves humor. Humor lowers defenses, making your audience more receptive to your message. It also makes you seem more likable, and people are more willing to do business, to interact with, or support somebody that they like. And I'm talking about humor here because I heard a lot of people laughing throughout her TED Talk.
You didn't laugh?
The audience was laughing. I didn't find her jokes funny.
Same here.
But given that people were laughing,
she was so funny.
She must be doing something right. So the author continues to, however, cautions rather. Yeah. He cautions us by telling us that don't deliberately make jokes. You know, don't attempt a joke. That's most likely going to fail, unless, of course, you're a professional comedian who is expected to make up and to tell jokes. And so he says you don't have to be funny to be humorous. You just have to be willing to do your homework to make your presentations entertaining. And he gives 5 ingredients to make your presentations entertaining. The first, anecdotes and personal stories. And he says if something happened to you and you found it humorous, there's a good chance that others will too.
Find it funny. Yeah.
Will also find it funny. Analogies and metaphors are another technique. Quotes. Quoting someone else who said something funny is an easy way to get people laughing. TED speakers do that a lot of the time. Then there's 2 other things. Video clips. Videos in presentations are an effective tool to bring humor. They take the pressure off you to be funny. So the video could be of somebody else who's making a joke or a humorous moment. And then finally, photographs. And she didn't use photos, but the lady we spoke about yesterday used photographs, a few videos. That's also an interesting way to get people to laugh. And that's just about it. Just, you know, as you're putting together your presentations, do inject a dose of humor using those 5 key ingredients. So on a day when we had a winning headline from the Standard and a winning cartoon from the Star, I want to leave you with my favorite Jesus quote, which is about becoming yourself. Becoming is better than being. That we learn from his short and remarkable life, that the goal in life is not to preserve history, it is to make history, it is to become a heretic, it is to go against the grain, it is to, in a sense, be vulnerable. Because if you're vulnerable, then you will truly become and fulfill your potential.
Are you listening to him?
Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We're also on your TV screens, Pan Free to Air, GoTV, and Star Times.